So this week's news has been yet another heap of major drops and updates. But sticking with our trend of pulling out themes from the weekly news versus just regurgitating what's already up on the Kgoat.net website, let's do just that. And again, feel free to go check out that website. I update it daily. I make no money off of it. I just do it as a service to friends, family, and my viewers. Kgoat.net. I really think you're going to enjoy it. I think it's the best news source for AI, period. But the theme this week, it's the same thing that I'm sure many of you have noticed this year. Google is the headline of about 30% or even more of these major AI news drops here in 2026. And so our theme for this video, it's going to be why Google will dominate the AI landscape in 2026. Now, this is part one. We're going to do part two next week, and it's going to be called Why XAI Will Dominate the 2027 AI Landscape. But for this video, let's break this bold claim down and see if you agree. So let's get to it. And we're going to keep it quick, at least as quick as possible. Don't worry. So back in May, during Google's I/O 2025 conference, they dropped some bombshells that still somehow quietly just plopped down. Back then, I realized that these quiet bombshells, they were laying a foundation for something much more grand. I just didn't realize the extent of said grandness. They dropped Gemini Live, they dropped VO3, they dropped Project Astra, Imagine 4, Deep Research, Google Flow, Google Jules, Google Meet, and plenty that I'm forgetting. Now let's fast forward to November of 2025, and Google drops Gemini 3 Pro. And then they follow that up with Gemini 3 Flash in December. This 3 series model, let's just say that this model was something special. Not only did it destroy the benchmarks and vault Google to the very top of the AI charts, it also showcased, I think, a paradigm shift that many haven't talked about yet. Previous versions of Gemini were, let's just say colder, they were more restrained, they were more safety routed, and they were just plain dull. Not much context, not much personality, and honestly easily confused. But the 3 series, bold, far less restrained, and very quietly more personable and more personalized. And Gemini 3 Fast, they rolled that out as the default model for the Gemini app. And Gemini 3 Pro was rolled out as the default model for web search. This essentially gave access to the 3 series to everybody for free. And now remember, we're going to try to keep this short here, but since that time, Google has not let up on the gas pedal. Just since early January of 2026, Google has dropped these major bombs. On January 12th, Apple and Google officially announced a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar partnership to integrate Gemini 3 as the core engine for the next generation of Siri and Apple Intelligence. Then on January 20th, Google dropped Personal Intelligence, integrating all of your Google services like Gmail, your calendar, your YouTube history, your contacts, your photos, and on, all with your permissions, of course. But they put all of this into Personal Intelligence. And then on January 28th, Genie 3 dropped, and that introduced world models that allow AI agents to understand and navigate physical environments, not just text. And that's a big deal. Then on February 5th, Axion N4A instances went live, and those gave developers twice the price performance boost for running Gemini-powered apps on Google's own custom, ARM chips, right, or ARM chips. Then on February 12th, Google 3 Deep Think is released to a limited group of researchers, obviously, but it was showcasing the Q1 killer, the reasoning that would eventually power the 3.1 series that we're going to talk a little bit about here coming up. Then on February 17th, Google I/O 2026 is officially announced for May 19th through the 20th with the tagline, The Year of the Agent. That's going to be something to see. Then on February 19th, Gemini 3.1 Pro launches with a staggering 77.1 score on the ARC AGI 2 benchmark, more than doubling the reasoning power of the previous Pro model, more than doubling 3.0 Pro. And then on February 19th, Lyria 3 hits the Gemini app, which allows users to create high-fidelity music from text or images or just prompts. Right now, they're short clips, but they say that within 3 weeks or so, we're going to be able to have 3 to 5 minute music clips, and they are stunning. They really are. The reviews are excellent. And then today, February 20th, TPU V7 Ironwood hits general availability, and that offers 10 times performance jump over previous generations, and it makes Google the undisputed king of AI inference. So hearing this list sounds pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie, but let's really tie it all together here to finish things out. The biggest one, I think it's pretty clear. Google has now landed 99+% of cell phone users on the planet with this deal with Apple. Gemini will now be baked into every Android and Apple phone. Google now has direct contact with nearly the entirety of humans that use cell phones on the planet. This is unprecedented access, and OpenAI is already feeling the bleed. They're losing market share fast, and Google will almost undoubtedly, simply because of this deal, now completely obliterate any and all competition when it comes to active AI users. Period. And remember how we talked about Google taking the sort of ridiculous guardrails off of Gemini earlier with this Gemini 3 series? Now with Personal Assistant, this means that if you choose, your entire history with Google is 100% accessible to Gemini. And remember, to even have an Android phone, you have to have a Gmail and a calendar. That's all your contacts, your browsing history, your photos, your YouTube history, your calendar, your emails, and on and on. All of it, including your conversations with Gemini, are now baked into every conversation with Gemini. It's the foundation for Gemini to be your legitimate personal assistant, your Jarvis, if you will. With top-of-the-line image and video generation with like Nano Banana and VO and Agentic scaffolding built in. Heck, even with Lyria out there, where we're going to be able to, just in weeks, to make 3 to 5 minute professional-grade songs and to reach the near entirety of everyone on the planet with a cell phone, Google has built the scaffolding. They've built the foundation. They've built the infrastructure that is 100% going to ensure that they dominate the AI landscape through 2026. And now with TPU Ironwood out, or TPU V7 Ironwood, they have the overwhelming compute advantage. But here's the kicker. This 10 times performance jump doesn't just mean that Gemini is faster. It means that it's cheaper for Google to run than for anyone else to compete with, period. While OpenAI and Anthropic are paying the NVIDIA tax to rent compute, Google is literally printing their own digital gold in-house. They can afford to give you Jarvis for free, while the other guys have to charge $20 a month or $100 a month just to keep the lights on. So when you wake up in mid-June and it's become standard knowledge that Google is the absolute leader in the AI landscape here in 2026, if you hadn't already realized, remember that you heard it here first. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button because it really does help the channel out. And make sure to tune in next week for part 2, because if Google is building the empire here in 2026, Elon is building the revolution in 2027. We're going to talk about why 2027 will literally be the year of the revolution. We're talking Colossus 2, Colossus 1, Colossus 3, and space compute. We're talking unconstrained logic. We're talking truth-seeking stuff. We're talking X money. We're talking Optimus. We're talking the brains and the body of the planet. You do not want to miss it. Until then, Kgoat signing off.